Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Premier Division review show. This is the final review show of the season. We won't start crying, JP, but plenty of content coming up. We're going to preview the FAI Cup final. We're going to preview the relegation promotion playoff. And what else? Team of the season, Premier Division, match day vlogs of the FAI Cup final and the relegation promotion playoff as well. JP, we'll start off at Bohemians Stadium Park, where Bows beat Sligo by 3-1. And I suppose Decky would be delighted, to be honest. People think sometimes these are dead rubbers, but he hadn't won a game at Bows yet. If he didn't win this game, it's a long way, isn't it, to next season to try and just get that monkey off your back. But to be fair, got it off their back convincingly in the end, and they finished 3 points behind Sligo and 5 points above Shelbourne in the table. Sixth.
Yeah, when I was actually watching the highlights of this game, I was trying to think to myself, was it a good result for Devine or was it a bad result for him? Because was it a good result? When I say that, what I was just thinking at the time was it a bad result because maybe has he decided on players that he wanted they part ways with? Had he decided on players that he wanted to keep? And was there somebody within that performance that maybe might have changed his mind a wee bit? And then I thought it was a good result for him because it means now he's got his first win under his belt, third time lucky, as they say. And it means he can go into pre-season and relax and not have to worry about going into start of next season thinking, Jesus, I need to get a win here early doors or I'm under pressure. He's got that win. Likelihood that he probably will have to get an early win under his belt next year. But for now, for different reasons. For Sligo, I think it was a dead rubber for them, really. They knew they couldn't catch Pats. They knew they couldn't be caught by both. So for them, it was a dead rubber. Season was up. And look, they'll be disappointed in their season, but at the same time, they would probably be satisfied with fifth place, considering that they changed their manager in mid-season. Had a good run in Europe. But the disappointing thing for them now is they can't replicate it next year. But what they can do is they'll have a free summer. They'll want to get a good pre-season, get a good start, and then they have a free summer where other teams will be playing in Europe, and they'll be hoping to capitalise on that next season. But obviously they'll be disappointed they finished the way they finished because I think the first goal is very avoidable. But a calamity, I think. I actually wondered, was there a bit of a kit change when I seen the goal, because I think in the end up the Sligo defender just slammed it into the roof of the net. Whether it was over the line or not before that, or he was trying to clear it, but it looked like a good poacher's finish.
Yeah,
fair play to Bows.
I think that was Ian Clancy's first start, I believe, for Sligo as well, and he'd be disappointed to concede an own goal. He's only 18 though, so I know he's made a few sub appearances, but a bit unlucky a little bit as well. But
and for Bows, it was good. Like, it was right on the stroke of half time. They went in 1-0 up. I'm sure the message at half time was they go out and get an early second. They did that, and then they were able to relax and got the third. And again, we've seen this before from Ty Ryan this year, haven't we? I think we saw the Pats the other week, and it's something similar. And I think Bows have had 4 different keepers between the nets, between the sticks this year, and I don't think any of them fill you with confidence. Maybe Talbot, but he's been injured since the summer. So, but at the same time, he can still be questionable at times, can't he?
Yeah, I mean, Keane has 18 league goals, 21st goal of the season, and probably didn't expect that to go in. Look, it's not a bad strike, but to be honest, it's a distance out again. Huh?
Yeah, it was probably hitting hope. Game was up.
Yeah,
may as well have a pop, see what happens. And with Owen Doyle scoring a couple as well, breathing down his neck a wee bit. I don't think he was scoring enough to catch him, but he's breathing down his neck a wee bit, wasn't he?
Yeah. Derry City 0, Dundalk 1 at you must have been panicking after 10 minutes of the practical. Keep Ward obviously after 9 minutes, and then we had we'll get onto that in a minute as well, the 2 red cards actually on 20 minutes, Diallo and McCourt. But I know, like, Derry, in fairness, they did play, just looking at the team again, a lot of players haven't really played that much lately, the likes of Lafferty McJanet went back to centre back. You had obviously Graydon come in, Thompson came in, Akintunde came in. So we spoke about it, didn't we, in the preview show? Should they leave out McElhenney and Duffy from the start? And that's exactly what Higgins done. And look, at the end of the day, I know Dundalk finished level as such with Derry in the league, but look, the most important thing was next Sunday. And I suppose no harm done, even though they'd be a little disappointed to lose the match.
Well, the Derry started relatively brightly. They were better on the ball, moving it quickly. A few half chances I'm behind, nothing really threatening, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Dundalk get a corner, Derry don't deal with it, and to be fair, Keith Ward, who takes a corner, comes off the corner line, and
nice strike.
Ball falls to him, and he just pings it, and he probably finds the only hole in the defence. And at that stage, you're kind of, well, there's still 80 minutes here to get the next goal. It's dodgy, like, but for a wee while after that, they did try and push a wee bit and get that second and whatever. And
yeah,
but I
McMillan had
think
a great chance, isn't he? Well saved. He disappointed
yeah,
he didn't
just
score.
after,
It was well saved, but
I think that was just after the two red cards. I think.
I think it was. Yeah.
I think just before that, it probably not picked up in the highlights. Is Maher actually slipped as the ball went past the defenders. He actually slipped, and you're thinking, "Oh God!" But he managed to get up and compose himself. I think if McMillan had his head up at that stage, he probably would have taken it. I don't think he had his head up, so he didn't see the keeper down. But you have to give Maher absolute brilliant credit. Got back up and saved it with his shoulder, I think. So, if that went in, look, I think Dundalk probably would have went on to get the third because there was no urgency in the Derry team throughout. I think Derry were just happy. They see the game out. There was nothing at stake really, apart from pride. And look, we finished in 66 points, 13 points behind Shamrock Rovers. We picked up 2 points in the last 4 games. It is disappointing. But I think, as you said there, the most important thing is the most important game now. It's the biggest game of the season is the FAI Cup final.
Did anyone put
I
their
think
hand up to start though? That kind of came into the team. You know what I
mean? I wouldn't say so, Keith. I think anybody throwing in was possibly throwing in with the possibility of putting themselves into the manager's plans for next week. I don't think so, to be honest. I think like Brandon Kavanagh, who started the season relatively well, was in the team since the summer, has been in and out of the team. There was Akintunde, who gives you 100% trying all the time.
Is that a question for you, maybe up front?
Possibly.
Akintunde. Who's McIntunde? Akintunde.
Yeah, I think James, you know what you're going to get with James. You're going to get 100% effort. Well, you're going to get 100% effort from them all, absolutely. But with James, you know he's going to run all day long. He's going to run. He's going to even if a ball, absolutely no chance of getting it, he's going to chase it. And he just puts himself about up there, and sometimes it comes off for him, sometimes it doesn't. Be interesting to see what strike force Rory goes with on Sunday. Does he go with James Akintunde? Does he go with McGonigal? McGonigal had a great chance in the second half. Andy Boyd slipped. Ronan Boyd put it on a plate for him, and
yeah.
I think Jamie McGonigal in Maytime takes a touch on that and smashes it in the back of net. Don't know, is his confidence gone? I don't know. It's hard to know. Have teams worked out how to prevent them, stop them? Have they worked out how to stop a service in them? Who knows? But look, disappointing to end the season in a defeat, but it wasn't too damaging.
Yeah, I suppose from Dundalk's point of view, they'd be delighted. Like the table looks good to them. The fact that they finished level with Derry in the end, you know what I mean? It does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does
6
for them.
Defeats as well. Like, I mean, we're talking about how Derry have only lost 6, and obviously Rovers have lost 5. So they've been tough to beat this season, haven't they? As well, I suppose.
They have, like, and their records identical to Derry, 18, 12 and 6, I think, and then I think their same goal scored. Derry conceded three less, I think it was. So it does look favourable on them. Look, if they probably overachieved from what we probably expect them to do. They've probably they probably set themselves a target of third in the dressing room at the start of the season. I'm pretty sure they probably would have done that. They've achieved that quite easily. Could have got second. If it wasn't for Derry taking Mark Conley in the summer, they probably would have. Um, but fair play to them. We know they got the 3 points off Sligo. They've beaten Derry twice in the Brandywell, so there was 9 points that they made up, and they were the only team that Derry didn't beat this season, and they've always been a bogey team for Derry. Going back 10 years, even before that. So they are quite team. They have been one of the teams that Derry do struggle against, no matter what Dundalk team you come up against. I think we beat them twice last year, one in Oriel, one in the Brandywell. And it was the first ones we'd got against them in about 10 years. So they've kind of repaid it back a wee bit this year, and look, fair play to them, and no doubt they'll want to kick on next year.
Yeah, finished Drogheda United 2, Finn Harps 0 at Headingham Park. Markey after 5 minutes and Rooney after 90 minutes. And I'll hit the post twice, or the woodwork, I should say, twice in this game. It was Nugent and Markey hit the woodwork as well. Unfortunately, Finn Harps didn't offer an awful lot in the game, it would appear, from watching the highlights and from what I'm told. And that was a comfortable enough win for Drogheda, even though the second goal was a late goal. But we do wonder if that's the last hurrah now for Ollie. There'll be questions now. I'm sure in the next week, we'll probably find more about that in the next week. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I know he did say if he was asked to stay, he'd stay, but I believe there's a board meeting, so we'll see what comes out of that. And Drogheda, Drogheda would be happy at the end of the season to end the season with that after the 6-0 defeat with Shelbourne. Like, it was just one of those, I think, as well, whereby look, the season was over for them, but they were obviously keen to put in a performance in front of their fans. And in the end, they finished 3 points behind Shelbourne and 7th and a comfortable 12 above UCD, Drogheda.
Yeah, considering they lost their first four matches this season as well, I'm sure they would have taken that at that stage of the season. You have to give them absolute credit. You say they only finished 3 points behind Shelbourne, and we're saying Shelbourne had a great season, a good season. I think Drogheda would have taken, I think,
Yeah.
8th at the start of the season, considering that the players they lost, Jimmy Brown, Redmond, um, who else did
Connor
they
Kane, Dan
lost? The guy they
O'Reilly. Even
O'Reilly,
Sam,
they
do you know
lost the
what was
guy.
key as well, actually, JP? We probably haven't touched on too much, but Sam Long in the mid season, because he was
Yeah,
brilliant for them in the opening
he was
part of the
magnificent.
season. Yeah. Like, if he
He
stayed for
was.
the whole season,
Uh,
we'd be thinking of him as considering him as an option in the
Game of the season,
conversation for goalkeeper and player of the year. Yeah.
100%. Like I watched them in Head in the Game Park and Easter Monday, and I tell you, if it wasn't for him that day, Derry would have came away with all 3 points. Um, he was magnificent, especially in the second half when Derry chucked everything at Drogheda. He stopped a
What was there,
few
actually, as
one
well? I
on
remember
ones.
it, yeah.
Uh, he stopped a few one on ones. I think there was a point blank save he made. There's just and you could see that he was a quality goalkeeper. Um, and that's taken nothing away from the keepers that played in the second half, because they done as equally as well. Probably weren't as um good
On
at the
point,
one-on-one
maybe.
ones
Yeah.
or shot stopping or whatever, but everybody that played for Drogheda this year contributed to it. Um, they've got I think they got their first one over Dundalk ahead in the game park for a long time, and then they got their second one, and um, so it was a positive season for Drogheda. As we said, touched on there, the amount of players that they lost, and you have to give Kim Doherty and Dara
Darren Doyle. Yeah.
Doyle.
Yeah.
You have to give them a huge credit, because they could have easily, after 4 games, they could have easily thought we have a job on our hands here. They probably did think that, but they could have easily, like in times gone by, folded.
Panic.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They rolled their sleeves up. They got on with the job, and they got 38 points out of their next 32 games. And um, as you say, 18 points above Finn Harps, who probably had a bigger budget than them. 12 points above UCD, comfortably away from the playoffs. For Drogheda now, it's about how can they build on that? Because it's likely that if UCD lose the playoff, they Waterford, it's likely that Drogheda is going to be everybody's favourites to go down. But as we saw this year, UCD was everybody's favourite to go straight down automatically. They didn't do that. They thought they got a playoff spot. They have a second chance. And look, for Drogheda, you have to take their hat off them, say fantastic season, and I really do hope that they can be competitive next year. As for Harps, total underwhelming season, disappointing season for them. That's probably an understatement. Um,
They
but
went out with a
against
whimper in this game a bit as well, which is
they
disappointing.
did, they did. The defending for the first goal was probably what we've been used to them did for most part of this season. They say they hit the post, Drogheda hit the post and hit the bar. Um, and then the second goal, look, I thought McKeown when I watched him against Derry was a good shot stopper. But I've seen other moments in other games where he needs to get stronger wrists on the like there was a game against Shelbourne, I think. There was this game. I think maybe the Bulls game as well.
Yeah, and the Bowls game as well.
Yeah, so I don't know where Harps go from here. Do they hang on to Ollie? Do they try and go in the first division with a clean slate and rebuild? But do you run the risk of doing that and being at the bottom, competing with the likes of Cove, Athlone, and teams like that? Or do you keep Ollie on, try and get a solid foundation in the first division, and then step aside next year and allow somebody else to take it on? But look, if he stays, he probably deserves it. If he take this season out of isolation, he probably deserves to stay. But if he goes, I don't think you can have any arguments. And I think if he does go, he'll not be sacked. It'll be mutual agreement. I think
Yeah.
not to extend the contract.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Finish with Richmond Parks and Parks to leg 4, Shelbourne nil. And I suppose this was all about Ian Bermingham, to be honest with you. I mean, 12 years at one club in the League of Ireland. Look, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very often, particularly with a good player. You know, Birmingham down through the years, been an excellent player from Pats. For Pats, he's seen it all. He's won the FAI Cup. He's lost FAI Cups. He's won League Cups. He's won the league. He was part of a Pats team that nearly got relegated for the
Yeah,
first time in their history as well. European games,
I know.
etc., etc. And as 12 years at one club, JP is just crazy in this league. We don't see it, and for a lot of that time as well, it was year after year after year, a contract for about 5 or 6 years at least. He was getting 1 year contracts, so every year he
Yeah,
was linked with a move away. But fantastic send off for him, and he would have been delighted with the performance of the team overall to beat Shelbourne by 4 goals to 0. Look, it meant nothing really. It was a good performance by Pats, but once Shelbourne went one down, they really went into cup mode. I felt. I'll give you an example. Like Jack Moylan got booked on 34 minutes, and he got hauled off in 35 minutes. So that tells you what Duff was thinking there. Like,
yeah,
Shelbourne, a bit like Derry,
yeah.
they won't be too disappointed with it, I don't think. Pats, as I said, played well. They'd be delighted to finish the season. Owen Doyle got a couple of goals, and to be honest, he took them very well, something that maybe he hasn't done well enough this season. Breslin set up 2 goals and also scored one as well, but and the final goal coming from Ben McCormack. And Pats, in the end, finished fourth in the league, 5 points behind, obviously, Derry and Dundalk, and 11 points above Sligo Rovers. And I suppose the waiting game for Pats now. But overall, a successful enough season, I think, for Pats, even if they don't get into Europe, in my opinion. A point off last year's total as well.
Yeah, I tipped them to finish third this year. We probably didn't expect the resurgence of Dundalk to happen so quickly. Um, but they lose their manager a couple of days after winning the FA Cup last year. They lost quite a few players as well, and Tim Clancy came in, had he built. Um,
When
and
Tim Clancy came in, he did an interview after the game. 4 players were signed at
yeah,
that point. Only 4 players.
yeah, and that shows you how good of a job he did. That he'd only 4 players signed, 61 points, got them in the fourth place. Now they sit back and put their feet up and hope that Derry win the cup next week. And
I'm not sure
they,
they'd be putting their
they,
feet up, but
well, they they've done what they needed. They've
yeah.
done what they needed to do to give themselves the chance. Um, Obviously they would have liked Dundalk or Rovers to be the other team in the cup final, and then they know that the job is done. But um, it was roles reversed last year. Derry sneaked fourth place in the last game of the season, then became some Pats fans for a day
I'm sure
in
Tim is on the
November.
phone to Rory as we speak, reminding him about that.
Yeah, probably is. But Owen Doyle, 14 goals as well. We know came into the league with a reputation. Probably we expected more of him, but they get 14 goals. I think is a good return. Considering that Aidan Keena got 18. And Owen, I know he's at the other side of 30, where he probably everybody starts to look to wind down their career. But I'm sure next year he'll try and be better and try and get more goals. And I thought the first goal was quite bizarre because apparently the linesman had the flag up and the referee overruled him, whatever that
Yeah,
was
the
all about.
linesman had his flag up for offside, and I'll be honest, it didn't look anywhere near offside, and the referee did overrule him. I'm not sure if the linesman
Who
put
was
his
it?
flag up.
McLaughlin, was it?
Yeah, I think he might put. I think he thought Billy King was offside, and he put it up too early instead of just leaving it flow and seeing what happens. And I think the referee may have had a conversation with
Aye.
him and asked him, what did you put the flag up for? And I think he realised he put it up too early. And Doyle, he was never offside, like he wasn't even
Yeah,
close to being offside, and he scores. But
yeah. No,
there
I
was a
didn't
bit of
look at the
confusion for a few
replays
minutes.
anyway.
All right, yeah.
Aye. And the third goal, as you say, Shelbourne probably went into cup final mode after that. You say Moylan was taken off after getting his yellow card. Surprised Mark Coyle probably wasn't taken off either, because
He
he's
was
another
taken
guy who
off, but
plays on the
actually
edge.
later on, he was taken off. He was taken off for 59
Yeah, I thought
minutes.
he.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I seen the tackle and I thought a couple of seconds later or a few inches higher, and it could have been a different card for him. But fair play to Paul McLaughlin, got got the decision right, and he kept the guy on the pitch. And um, but the fourth goal was just calamity, to be honest. Don't know don't know what the centre back doing, to be honest. Like
It was Aaron
it's just
O'Driscoll. He'd
gifted
only
in the
come on the
corner.
pitch as well, and he got himself caught up. He didn't know where the ball was or anything, did he? He was looking around and
Fair play to McCormick. He punched on it and
yeah.
just literally walked it in. Sat
I
Brendan
think
Clark
Clarkey
down.
slipped as well to make it a bit funnier too. I think he slipped, didn't he? And McCormick goes
Just
in
everything
around.
seemed to go against Shelbourne at that stage. And
Yeah.
look, I can't talk about this game and not mention Ian Bermingham. What a servant they, not just some Pats, but the League of Ireland. Um, I say 12 years at the one club is unheard of in the League of Ireland. I think the only other club that really happens there is probably Derry. I know McNulty spent 20
Yeah.
years there at Cork, I think
Yeah.
it was. So it's very, very rare. I think Jared Doherty had 10 years at Derry. I
Especially
think
for an outfield
Barry,
player.
yeah, I think Barry Malloy might have done 10 years. Peter Hutton done 10 years. Um, so it's very, very rare that happens. And um, congratulations, Ian, on a brilliant career, and whatever you choose to do in your retirement, good luck with it.
Yeah, he's definitely staying around the club anyway, so you won't be surprised to hear that. Finished UCD nil, Shamrock Rovers 2 at the Belfield Bowl, and Aaron Green after 6, Simon Power's first goal for the club on 83 minutes. And UCD really rang the changes in this game, so they did have to say. We had we'd no Lonergan gone from my head for a minute there. Duffy wasn't playing. The likes of Dignam wasn't playing. A lot of new players played for them. The likes of Heist, Ginad, Norris hasn't played much for them this season. Duggan, players like that.
Michael Gallagher too, the right back.
Yeah, those players haven't played for them much
Jack
this
Keenan,
season at
yeah.
all. And they came up against a fairly strong Shamrock Rovers side, actually, to be honest. When you look at it there.
Yeah.
And Rovers did win comfortably in the end. And I suppose from Rovers' point of view, it's record point territory now for them. That's the record points they've amassed now with 79 points. So they'll be happy with that. and UCD won't really
Is
care.
that a record for Rovers, or is that a record?
For
Is that a
Rovers,
record for
that's the
Rovers,
Shamrock
or a
Rovers
record
record.
for
Yeah,
Rovers?
yeah, Shamrock
Rovers.
Rovers record. As I said,
So
UCD won't really
fantastic.
care, will
Like,
they?
it's no whenever you become champions for the first time, the aim is to become champions for the second time,
Mm.
and obviously you want to do it a third time, and they've done it. But whenever somebody becomes champions on multiple occasions, um, you always wonder what hunger do they have, because
Mm.
they've done it. What what more can they achieve? And well, what they've achieved is that they've broken the club record, and fair play to them. Fantastic season for them. Won the league by 13 points, qualified for the group stages in Europe, got themselves a couple of draws in there, remained unbeaten at home.
Mhm.
I think in the league, didn't they?
They did,
They
yeah.
remained
They did.
they
They
remained
had
unbeaten.
2 draws and the rest were wins. 16 wins, 2 draws at home.
Amazing. That's why you become champions. Your home form. And then you can play about with a result here or there away from home. And in Europe as well, they didn't lose until, I think, was it their second game in the group stage? The
Yeah,
second
yeah,
home game in the group stage
yeah.
was,
Molde.
when you consider the teams that they came up against.
Mm.
Um, they achieved that. It's absolutely incredible. And fair play to Stephen Bradley, his backroom team, his players, everybody involved with Shamrock Rovers, worthy champions. And it's all about now. Can they do it for a fourth time? Um, what sort of
Another
recruitment are they
record
going
at
to do?
stake there as well to keep the hunger
Yeah,
going, I suppose.
it is. And how do they move on? Do they keep this team together? Do they move people on, try and refresh it, try and make it younger? And that's a question. I'm sure Stephen Bradley already has the answers to all that, and he'll let us know over the coming months with the signings that he makes. And for UCD, we kind of expected that they would put out
I was
a
going
week.
to say JP to put out a young team, but
I think a
I'd say
younger team probably.
inexperienced team is fair to say, though.
Yeah. I think Friday night's their cup final. I think, to be honest, I think UCD probably have nothing to lose on Friday. To be honest with you, because nobody expected them to come up last year. Um, they did. Nobody expected them to get a playoff. They did, and I don't think anybody's expecting them to beat Waterford. So can they do it? Same last year. They had nothing to lose and everything to gain, and that's what happened. And I think if they pull it off 2 years in a row,
It wouldn't surprise me.
it would not surprise me. But as a Waterford fan or official or player, it would absolutely sicken me. It really would. But look, if they do, good luck to them if they do it. Hats off them. Incredible. What they've done this year, I think you have to take your hat off them, because they didn't just come up to make up a numbers. They came up to compete, and they did that. They didn't just go to Alexa Brandywell or Tala or Polka
They
Park or
didn't have too
whatever. They
many
said,
big defeats this season. In fact, one of them was
no,
only against Derry. And apart from that,
they
like
could have,
Pats beat them 4 times, but the biggest win against them was 2-0.
yep. I think Derry beat them 4 times. One of them was 7-1.
Yeah,
I think there was a 1-0 and two nils, I think. So
yeah.
it wasn't like they were getting hidings.
No,
That
that was the only
yeah,
hiding they got this season, really.
yeah, and that's when Derry was really on their pump.
Yeah.
Because I think, was it the week before, the week after, Derry went and put 4 past Pats at Richmond Park.
I knew you'd mention.
So no, but I'm talking about it in that sort
No,
of
but it was
during the
during that
season where
spell,
Derry, it wasn't
exactly.
yeah, it wasn't just UCD that they done it, the other teams as well, like. And
Yeah.
um they had a go at teams. They didn't just sit back and soak up pressure. They had a go when they could. And the last game they played in the Brandywell, they before Derry got the second goal, they could have easily got an equaliser. Um, Sean Brennan almost caught Maher out with a curler, dipping effort in the top corner. And then once Derry got the second, they got the third, and 3-0 probably flattered Derry that night, to be
Mhm.
honest with you, against them. So, look, they've been a breath. I know people don't like them being in the Premier Division because they don't bring a crowd, or they don't bring atmosphere, or whatever. But what they do is they bring something else, and that's that they keep quality players within the league for 3 years or more, and they help them develop while they're being educated for life beyond football. And that's what they do bring. And having the likes of Sam Todd and Duffy, and as we are saying, Liam Kerrigan and Colin Whelan,
Colin
having
Whelan.
them playing 6 months or a year in the Premier Division, it makes them better players. And no disrespect to the first division, it makes them better players than what it maybe would if they spent 3 years in the first division. Like they're coming up against better opposition, quality opposition, and stuff like that. And look, good luck to them on Friday night, as well as good luck to Waterford too.
Yeah, look, JP, that was brilliant. We leave it there. That was the final review show of the season. We won't start crying, JP. We'll only do that when the cameras go off. Guys at home, please subscribe, hit your bell notification button, and thanks for watching throughout the year. Plenty of content coming up, though. So cheers. Thanks, JP.
Thanks, Keith.